On October 16, 1945, 42 countries acted in Quebec, Canada to create the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. In doing so, they took another important step forward in man's perpetual struggle against hunger and malnutrition. A local nonprofit organization is making their mission to raise awareness and join in the effort to break the cycle of rural poverty across the world and in our own community. Their story and event is coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Brian Lacey, and joining us in studio to talk a little bit about World Food Day is the Executive Director to Doors to Change, Jane Waters-Thomas. How you doing, Jane?
Hello, I'm well, thanks.
And also joining us is Beverly Kerr. Beverly is the Community Garden Project Coordinator with Doors to Change. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and you?
I'm doing good. Well, the first person we got to ask is you. The World Hunger Day within Polk County was kind of your brainchild. Beverly, tell me how you came about with the concept of it, borrowing from the National Day.
From the National Bank, realizing that World Food Day had turned into a big food giveaway. What I identified in the research that I did on that day, looking at the document World Food Days throughout the United States, it turned into a big food giveaway. So creating the links and the resources in the community to add to that so that people don't just come, get food, go home, and have to wait till the next World Food Day. Creating links through gardening programs, partnering with other groups to develop backyard gardening, community gardening, and highlight on the resources in the community that they can go to when there is a meal gap.
Given where you're located and there's a need within the community where you guys are, and there are needs all across Polk County, but where you guys are, the philosophy of give a child a fish and they'll eat for the day, but teach the child to fish and they'll eat for life. Talk to me about the importance of teaching that community great gardening skills like what you provide.
It creates sustainability. They know that once they can grow food on their own at their home, low cost, it doesn't cost them a fortune to start a garden in their home. Once they learn how to plant seeds, how to cultivate, how to harvest, how to keep it growing long term, then they create an ultimate food resource for themselves.
Jane, it was Saturday afternoon within the past 5 years. Some of your community supporters, some of your great sponsors, and of course the folks from that neighborhood started that garden in Eloise. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of the community partners along with the folks that live in that neighborhood.
You know, I have to, I think, first look at the neighborhood that we're within. You know, when Arts Ensemble and Doors to Change, the two organizations that I oversee that work together, moved into the Eloise region, the plan of action there really was just to create resources and become a gap filler for whatever the next need would be. Of course, Arts Ensemble is arts education, so that put us immediately with children working in after-school programming, bringing in great art programs. But what we knew we had to be able to do was exactly what you just said, was teach not just children, but families to fish, so that they could grow their own food. In fact, the community garden that we started there is on what was a big playground for children. And through working with the Board of County Commission and Parks and Recreation, who is just our greatest cheerleader and assistance and just what we do in community everywhere in Polk County, they removed the playground equipment, and then we had some really great folks come in to help us build that garden. We received a grant, and it was made possible to build what the planters would be that we could grow in. So the initial starting of the garden, or the education process and sustainable food resources, really started with about 20 people on what was a playground, building container or raised bed gardens.
And the thing about it that folks at home probably don't even realize is, you know, when you say, oh, we're going to start a garden, we've got these containers. You guys started off with slats of wood and dirt and built every single container that you have by hand and did everything by hand. It wasn't like it was just, you know, dump and grow.
Well, absolutely. And the thing I think I most love about community gardening is that any and everybody can do it. Sure enough, sometimes when we're working with seniors, we have to have gardening beds that are up taller, like 4 feet high, so that they can reach them, so that they're not down on their knees. But our kids, they're gardening out of old box springs now, which is very cool, using some recycled resources. Miss Beverly here grows food out of tennis shoes. It is just amazing.
I've got some tennis shoes. You could probably grow some stuff.
We're not. But it's just kind of cool, some of the resources that she's brought into the garden. Her knowledge, her skill, her love, her passion. You know, passion is key for me and what I do, for sure. And when I met Miss Beverly and she said, I just need a place to grow food, and I instantly went, I just need somebody who can grow food. And it was just a brilliant partnership between Beverly and Doors to Change. And so, yeah, it's kind of fun to see where the garden is today, as opposed to where we were just a few short years ago, where we were looking at this big rubber mat and going, how are we going to grow food off of this? You know, today it's difficult to walk through some areas of the garden because it's growing so very well. So kind of a lot of fun to see the garden today.
I had someone told me what I put in my body at a young age would affect me at this age. I probably would have taken better care of myself. Talk about the responsibility and the pride you're taking in teaching the children, you know, what vegetables do for their body and what an important role it takes in their health.
Well, it comes from a personal battle with myself with obesity and eating the wrong food, hot dogs, Snickers, potato chips. You feel sluggish, tired, you don't want to do very much.
Those aren't part of the basic food groups?
Those are not a part. and as you get older, some kids, they grow into obesity not realizing it, not realizing they can get an apple, an orange, lemon, grapes. They can have a fruit salad instead of a hamburger. And it's kind of hard for them to make that choice, but once you really hit it home for them that as you age, your body slows down. You're not going to be able to do some of the things you like to do, run, play. Some of the kids, they see that already. So they're making a slow change to, instead of eating potato chips, now they may get apple slices. They might get grapes because they taste good and they get the same emotional effect from eating apples instead of eating something heavier and feeling sluggish. So it comes from the increasing your energy. The more calories you take in, the more you have to burn. If you're not burning that many, don't take in that many. So eating a smaller portion of something that's more filling, high fiber, they're starting to understand I have more energy, I could play now, I can run as much as I want, my attention span is greater. So it's kind of like a slow process of change. Give them something to change to. Don't say we're going to eat, you know, grapes and there's no grapes. Let's grow some grapes and you have all the grapes you want. So it's all about kind of giving them a realistic idea of what they have to look forward to, opposed to eating this way to this way. Give them something to make an even trade-off in what they're eating.
We've talked a little bit about how the idea started. We've talked about the work that you've done in the community to plant the seed and what you're doing with both the young and the older folks that live in the community. Let's talk a little bit about the day. It's going to be the first World Food Day within Polk County at Champion Church. Let's talk a little bit about that. That's a new partner for you.
Yeah, it is. Actually, across the board, a new partner. It's very, very cool. You know, It's easy to say that we do outreach work and we have missions work right here in Polk County. We just do. You do not have to get on a plane. I say this often and many, many times over and over. You do not have to get on a plane to do impactful outreach work, ministry, whatever you need to call it, to feel fabulous about it. We have real need here. Champions Church is located on Havendale Boulevard. It's kind of centrally located for the outreach area that we're within, but most importantly, they have an amazing activity field, and the parking space there is perfect for an event of this size. When we were looking at the possibilities of, okay, where do you do this thing, I always kind of go, I want to kind of do it South Polk County, maybe Bartow area, maybe, but it just made sense to be at Champions Church. The resources are there. The ongoing resources are there. If we can get people not only there for the food that we are giving away, we are working with Agape Food Bank to provide food resources for those that are in need on that day. Then they also have a resource to come back to. Champions Church does a beautiful job of reaching back into the community, going out and sort of being feet on the ground for what people need in our area. So it was just a great partnership, and we do a lot of work with faith-based organizations because bottom line, they have the human resources and they want to go out and serve people. And it's a great partnership. We couldn't do it without them.
Ms. Beverly, let's talk a little bit, if you could, inspire those to get involved, whether it be joining you in the grassroots and teaching the children and as I like to say, taking it one step further than what you found it, or inspiring them to volunteer, come and help, or just be a part of the day.
Right now we're starting a new gardening over in Florenceville, the PEP garden. People could just come there on Saturdays from like 7 in the morning till noon. Come, take your time. It's a unique skill to see stuff grow, but very easy. We grow straight seed so they can get a better understanding of just how to put it in a pot and just watch it grow. Very simple. Just come out and just try it and see the reward before your eyes. It's amazing.
Jane, talk to me a little bit about the importance of sponsors.
There can't be anything more important than our sponsors. We are extremely blessed at Doors to Change and Arts Ensemble with some benefactors who make things real, like Fruitarom, Citrus Source, locally Advisors. Nothing can trump Board of County Commission when it comes to reaching out in community and lifting people up. We really need more sponsors than what we have. I think all nonprofits can say that. We manage our pennies to the penny, and we create pennies where there are no pennies. So sponsors make everything happen, and you can't say enough about the people that do great stuff for you. So I want to make sure that I share that information, that we have some amazing benefactors, but we're always seeking more.
I want you to speak from the heart and let the folks of Polk County know how they can help in the steps towards helping you on World Food Day.
I wish that I could say that it's only funds that we need. It's not. We need feet. We need hands. We need people that will show up and actually do what needs to be done. That looks sometimes like 1 or 2 hours. Of course, if you don't have the time and you can mail $10 or $15 in, and there's not a gift that's too small whenever you're feeding children. I say all the time, and it's passionate for me, that one of the greatest lessons I very first learned when I got into the community of Eloise was that I could not teach children art who were hungry. It's not a possibility. Hunger trumps every other need there is in our nation, in our community. And to get involved is as simple as, as Beverly said, showing up and helping her grow the stuff. There's that for sure. But we need sponsors. Food is a big deal, and it's more than just showing up in a park and feeding people for 1 or 2 days. It's sustainable food resources, and that shouldn't always look like a food bank. What it needs to look like more is education. We need to be able to get back to some of the things that teach us how to do it. You know, when I was a kid, I had to garden. It wasn't an option in my family. We gardened. That was part of how we provided food in my home. I can certainly see that taking place now that we've been in place in Eloise for a little bit of time. So we do need resources. We need human resources. We need hands and feet. We need them there. We also need sponsors. We need people who are willing to give of their funds to make it happen. You know, we live in a tight economy, and that's for sure, but $10 goes a really long way. $10 at our center feeds a child for a week. And most of our kids are getting their food from our center, even for what they go home with. We have a food pantry located at the Eloise Resource Center. In every community that we go to, food is our primary gift. Education is secondary, because it has to be. If you can't meet physical needs, you can't meet intellectual needs, you can't touch emotional needs, and there's a real system for meeting those needs. So we need the money. I'm just going to say it like it is. Nothing trumps a bank account when what you're trying to do is feed a lot of people. But we also need people who can serve.
Jane, Beverly, I want to thank you both for coming in today and sharing your efforts within World Food Day within Polk County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, the purpose of World Food Day is to raise awareness and create a movement within our region to end hunger and substantially change the face of poverty here. In short, World Food Day is an occasion for the world and Polk County to focus attention on the crucial role played by social protection in eradicating hunger and poverty. Join Doors to Change for their World Food Day event Saturday, October 17th from noon to 5 p.m. at Champions Church. It's in the outdoor parking area and activity field on Havendale Boulevard in Winter Haven. You need more information, give them a call at 863-293-2700 or check them out on the web at www.doorstochange.com.